Hello and welcome to another episode of your weekly program, Open Talk. On this episode of our program, we would like to discuss Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa's Global Award for Women Empowerment. Of course, a memorandum of understanding was signed between UN Women and the Supreme Council for Women who've been working together for this dream to become a reality. Joining me on this episode of our program to shed light on the award itself and, of course, the Memorandum of Understanding and where we are going next is UN Women Regional Director for Arab States, Mr. محمد Nasri. Mr. Nasri, first of all, I'd like to welcome you again on Open Talk. You were a guest with us around more than 6 months ago.
In November, correct.
In November. It was a pleasure to host you in Bahrain and, of course, on our program. And I'm looking forward to today's episode because I believe something that was an idea became reality today. And you are behind this and highly appreciated for the efforts you have exerted.
It's a teamwork, but it's also always comforting to come back to Bahrain because for me it's homecoming, as if I'm coming back home. And that's very reassuring, and it's very spiritual to be here during Ramadan. I was also here in Ramadan last year, and it's always good to be in your show.
Thank you. Thank you.
As you rightly said, we finally signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Bahrain, with the Supreme Council for Women, to launch the award of Her Highness, Her Royal Highness Sheikha Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa. As we know, there is an award for Bahraini women and for the government entities who have been taking steps to ensure that there are women are in the leading place in many government entities in Bahrain. Today we're taking it globally. And we're not only talking about it only for government entities, we're also seeing and we're going to assess private sectors, individuals, civil society organizations, working to advance the cause of women, not only in their own areas, but also in the areas of development, the role of women and the civil society in the humanitarian field. As we know, unfortunately, our region is facing many challenges and conflicts, whether it was in Syria or Iraq or Yemen or Libya, and this award will also be looking into awarding those who have been working very positively to alleviate the suffering of our fellow Arabs in these countries.
This is going to be really interesting, Mr. Nasri, because I'm visualizing who are going to be the award winners and the criteria and the standard on which you are going to choose the winners, and I see that there will be so many experiences that will be shed light on, but the 3 top winners, they must be very distinguished and unique experiences.
They will be, and that's why it took us some time to work the details of that award and of signing the Memorandum of Understanding, because as you said, we're taking it globally, so not even and not only to the region. An NGO in Caracas might be receiving the awards.
Amazing.
A government entity in the Philippines may be receiving the awards. An individual in Kazakhstan can be getting it. Or a private company in Zambia can be a recipient of it. So we're opening it to the world, and I think this is only one of the many traditions that Bahrain brings to the floor. It's a country that has always been open to the world. It has been a country where have been giving a lot of the traditions to the world, and now it is again taking the advancement that they have done in the field of women's rights to the world.
This is interesting because, yes, the experience is going to the world, Mr. Muhammad, but I want to go back now to prior to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between UN Women and Supreme Council of Women. how did you work together until you reached the signing of this memorandum of understanding to launch Her Royal Highness Princess Sabika bint Ibrahim Al Khalifa's Global Award for Women Empowerment?
The idea, of course, started because we work very, very closely with the Supreme Council for Women. We believe that we're an extension of each other. We're both heading for the same goals, which are an empowered woman everywhere. And it was only natural through the discussions that we've been doing and the talks that we've been having with the different counterparts, especially Her Excellency Ustaza Hala, who has been saying, well, and rightly so, we've been, as Bahrain, doing a lot for women's rights, and we've been working not only for the past 15 years since the establishment of the council, but also for decades towards that goal. Why not we take our lessons learned? Why not we take our contribution to the world?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, this was the idea. And we all know the immense contribution that Her Royal Highness have been having on all fronts to support women and families over the past few decades. And it's only befitting that if an award is to be launched, is to be in Her Royal Highness's name.
Yes.
Not only because it's Her Highness is the patron, but because she also works herself on the details, and Her Highness is engaged on daily basis to make sure that the lives of women and girls, not only in Bahrain but beyond, are in a much better place because of the work that she does and the Supreme Council does.
This is interesting. From a national level of empowering women today, Her Royal Highness plays an international role in the international arena, and the Supreme Council for Women is exerting its effort into making or sending an international message about where Bahrain is and how Bahrain supports and empowers women.
And she's become a symbol. Her Royal Highness has become the symbol for that. And as you know, in many parts of the world, the stereotype about the Arab women, that they are disempowered, that they face a lot of challenges, etc. And I think it's only time now that we bring a more balanced picture to the world. Do we have challenges? Of course we have challenges, but who doesn't?
Men have challenges too.
Men have challenges. Even the state of women in countries like the Scandinavian countries still have challenges. I read recently that in Russia there is a woman that is killed every hour by her partner. So there are a lot of challenges everywhere, but also we have done a lot, and there have been a lot of positive achievements in Bahrain and many other Arab countries. So why do not bring that to the world?
Expose it, yes. And what's interesting, Mr. Muhammad, is that I'm sitting here today. I've been with media for the past quarter century, and I cannot recall one challenge that I faced as a Bahraini woman. So when we say challenges, I can't recall any. When it comes to my own experience, a field that women in the Gulf were new at. Media, maybe 35 years ago it started. So what challenges? We had the strong platform all these years. The platform was there. We might as well just build on it.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you have women in every field in Bahrain now. You have the woman minister, you have the woman member of parliament, you have the woman ambassador. You have the woman in media, the woman artist, etc. And again, it is just about time to bring that experience to the world.
I liked what you said, Mr. Muhammad, about the stereotyping. Stereotyping means that people in the world have perceived for long that women are not empowered in the Gulf states, if I don't want to go to the Arab region. But that's not true at all.
Not at all. And I believe a lot of this stereotyping comes from their Western idea of what empowerment is. And once they see a woman in a veil or in a traditional dress, they think, no, she's not empowered. She's a weak woman. She's sitting in the house, and
It's
everyone else is bossing her around. And it's absolutely not true.
No.
And you see examples, and even examples of women who may not had the chance to get a lot of education in some of the countries, yet and they are in their traditional dress or wearing the veil, yet they are the most empowered individuals in their own domicile, in their own environment.
Of course.
So I believe we need to be more balanced when we look at the notion of empowerment.
It's interesting because whether under a veil or not, a woman's role is much bigger. She raises generations at home. They are the future of the countries that they belong to.
Exactly.
So whether under and education has nothing to do with culture. Being cultured does not mean being highly educated. There are women who are highly educated yet not cultured and fail to present a generation that will serve the society.
I fully agree.
Now let's go to the Memorandum of Understanding, Mr. Muhammad, and the signing of this MOU with the Supreme Council for Women. What's going to be next after the signing of the MOU?
Once we sign the MOU, we will be looking into, as you rightly said, going into the details of the criteria. How are we going to prepare the call for nominations and the call for proposals from the different entities? So how would a municipality in Morocco apply the same way that a municipality in Africa, in the Central African Republic, when it comes to the government side? And the same applies to the other parts, the private sector, the civil society, and the individuals. We're working on launching the award in New York next year in March, on the sides of the Commission on the Status of Women. As you know, that the Commission on the Status of Women meets every year in New York for 2.5 weeks, and they have been doing so for the past 60 years. And we are aiming that Her Royal Highness would bestow us with her audience in New York at the time. And this is where we bring it to the world, we announce it, and we launch it. And then the following year, March 2018, will be again in New York, where we award the 3 entities with the award. And of course, that's an experience that needs to be very well documented. We need to assess very well what have these entities and individuals done to advance the cause of women and girls in the world, to learn from it. So it's not going to be only the award, but also looking into how we document that process to make it available for others to learn from it.
Amazing. Commission of Status of Women that will be held in New York, is it going to be attended by, as I understood, thousands of participants?
Usually the average number of attendees is between 15 and 20,000 people every year, from all fields, from the government, mainly from the government and from the civil society, but growingly the private sector is also attending.
So
and of course individuals who have worked on advancing the rights of women and girls as well. You would find from heads of states to prime ministers to ministers.
It's different levels.
At different levels.
And then what happens after this? Is there going to be, Mr. Muhammad, a committee formed? How is the Supreme Council for Women going to work with the UN Women Organization? The next 21 months, how is it going to be until the awards are presented?
There will definitely be a committee that is formed between UN Women, the Supreme Council, and others, that we will make sure those are entities and individuals who are very well reputed and very experienced in the field of women empowerment. And these individuals and entities will be part of that steering committee that will look into the selection of the different competitors.
So they will represent countries or will represent their own experiences?
They will represent their own entities, whether it was a member of another national council for women somewhere else,
Okay.
or whether it was an international civil society organization that is looking into the advancement for women, or an individual, or a private company that has done a lot to advance the cause of women within their own sphere.
It's going to be interesting the next 21 months, focusing on experiences individuals and entities have. And I have a feeling, Mr. Muhammad, that we're going to see experiences we never imagined that we would see happen in the world.
And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
It's amazing. Going back to the Memorandum of Understanding and the signing and the work that will start after that, when do you expect work to start? Just after
Just now.
Just now?
Yes, just now. As
You
said,
probably started.
We've signed the Memorandum of Understanding, so this is the officiation of the process. But as you rightly said in the beginning, the process has started earlier on. So we've already started on that.